Hello and welcome to episode 148 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. Of course, I am your host, Rick Doherty. Last week, Sarah Says started our 2-episode conversation where we rank every Disneyland ride on a tier list. With the holiday, it was a slower show to pick up listeners. If you haven't had the chance to check it out yet, I would recommend it because it was really fun. We continue that conversation today. Before we get started, tomorrow marks the beginning of December, and I will be taking part in Vlogmas. I will post a video, vlog, or podcast every day in the month of December to try to grow the channel heading into 2024. This approach helped us grow leading into this year, and I have a ton of stuff to share with you this December. I'll have vlogs from Jollywood Nights at Hollywood Studios. I'll have holiday decorations and overlays from all 4 Walt Disney World theme parks and both of the dry theme parks in Universal Orlando Resort. I'll even throw in some unique vlogs that have nothing to do with theme parks. Please head to the Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty YouTube channel to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, let's get started by welcoming back my good friend Sarah Says. We're just going to pick up with our tier list from Disneyland. Thanks for being here, Sarah.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Now, I think this is one where we are going to make people mad, but we are probably going to agree between the two of us. And I think a lot of people aren't going to like what we're going to have to say. But since we've been going through Fantasyland dark rides, it's time to talk about Peter Pan's Flight.
Oh, God.
And I think one of the things you have to take into consideration when ranking a ride, for example, we have the Mark Twain as a C. Part of the reason is because you know you're not going to have to wait in line to do it. You're going to get on the next boat every time. So wait time does play a part in this.
Yeah.
I feel, oh boy, people are going to be mad.
I know people are going to be mad because
I'm going to have Peter Pan as a C tier because it is a pain if you want to rope drop it. That's the only way. You're not going to wait like an hour for this ride. Yep. And I don't want to rope drop a Fantasyland dark ride. I'm sorry. Like, that's not worth it to me. So I think this is going to be a C tier. I think this is going to be our first controversial one with other people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If we were basing it on line and wait time alone, I'd put it at an F. But I put it on a C.
I am wondering if we have somebody joining Thaddeus J. Toad in the S tier.
Oh, I'm interested to hear who's next.
Haunted Mansion.
S tier. Solid S tier, unless it has the overlay.
You know what?
Then
I didn't even think of that.
F tier. Yes, solid
you know
S tier when it is OG.
No, here's the deal. I already had it in S. Like, I placed it in S for us to start the conversation. But now I am going to make the case that it is down for a good portion of the year. And it is a refurbishment that even if you like the refurbishment, I think makes it a lesser ride. I'm going to say the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay of Haunted Mansion makes Haunted Mansion at Disneyland an A tier.
I hate that one. I hate it.
But you understand what I'm saying.
But no, I understand what you're saying, and it does.
And you're the one who brought it up, too. So you can't blame me.
Otherwise, it would be a solid S tier. Like if we were talking about Walt Disney World, S tier all the way. But yeah, no, as much as it breaks my heart to bump it down to an A tier, it has to be done because you're right. It's closed a huge portion of the year. And then it's changed to something completely different for half of the year when it's not. So there's only like an itty bit of time that it is the OG Haunted Mansion anymore.
Wow, are we going to make some people upset? We got Toad in S tier and Haunted Mansion in A tier.
Which is funny because I'm totally rocking my Haunted Mansion sweatshirt right now. But notice there is no Jack and Sally.
All right, let's try to bang out a few here that we can probably put pretty quickly. Goofy's Sky School is going to go in F tier, right?
I agree. I hate that ride.
Like, I'm glad it's there. I think we need rides with short wait times, but that doesn't mean you rank them high. That is an F
Yeah.
tier. I'm going
I
to make
agree.
a lot of people with kids mad and say Autopia F tier.
Autopia is automatically an F tier. I'm sorry, it is.
It
No, it's
smells
F tier.
bad. I just do
It's
not
killing the
like
environment. And it goes 5 miles an hour, 7 or something. Still. Sorry,
Storyland canal boats, I'm going to go with a D. You might be able to convince me to push it up to a C, but
I'm probably going to put it at a D as well, to be completely honest, because it's there. It's there. It's kind of cool to go through Monstro's Mouth, but ultimately, unless I had a kid who absolutely adored it, I think I've ridden it like twice.
Jumpin' Jellyfish, we got another D.
I think I'd put Jumpin' Jellyfish at a C. It's not too bad. It's pretty cute for people who don't, and like for kids, and then people who don't like drop rides, but still want that kind of experience. It's a
Okay.
comfortable way to do that. So it makes it more inclusive for people who don't want to potentially ride Guardians.
I like this sort of lightning round we have going here. Grizzly River Run.
F. I hate water rides like that.
Okay, I'll put it at a D because it's not
Okay.
a bad one. I don't
I hate
think that
those
it
rides.
deserves to really be
I don't want to walk around soaking wet all day.
the Zephyr.
F tier. I hate
Okay.
to say that. It's beautiful and iconic to look at, but it is. I don't even know why they still have that ride there, to be completely honest.
The Disneyland monorail.
Oh, S tier.
S tier?
Yeah, it's the monorail.
All
You get
right,
the
I'll
views
give it to you.
You get the views from all around the park, from downtown Disney, from California Adventure. You get all the views. It's relaxing. Every single person can ride it.
Okay, you sold me on it, and I get to tell my Nixon story that when Nixon was vice president and visited Disneyland, and he jumped on the monorail, and the guy running the monorail that day started driving away, and his Secret Service was not with him. So it was like the longest he probably went without Secret Service for the rest of his life.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
The Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough.
Ooh, that's a tough one because that's a good one. That's a really good one. I'm going to put that in. I'm trying to think of all my criteria in my brain that I've been like doing for these rides, like accessibility and fun and all of that. I'm going to probably put it in C tier.
See, that's where I have it as well, because there is a lot of walking and a lot of steps, and this is something that definitely in 1955 seemed like a better idea than
And
it
they
is
have
now.
an area if you're in a wheelchair that you can go, but I've never been in it, so I don't know what the experience is like. Like, is it just a room that has all the like book parts you can read with some pictures? I don't know. So yeah, C tier.
Casey Jr.
Oh, F tier. You can only ride that if you're a tiny human being. Like literally, you cannot fit.
Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters.
Oh. Oh, I don't know. I have it kind of between a C and a D right now because it needs a major update.
I put it in D.
Okay, let's do D.
Mickey's Spinning Wheel of Death. Oh, I'm sorry. A Pixar Pal Around.
F tier.
F
It's
tier.
beautiful to look at, but I will never ride it again.
I'm putting it in D just for the iconic nature of it. It's almost that park's icon.
It actually, I think it is the park's icon. But yeah, I hate that ride.
Little Mermaid.
Oh, I like the Little Mermaid. Let's go C tier. It's a nice dark ride.
If you're an average dark ride, you go in C because we need them, and there's no need to put it in with some of these D tier attractions that are
And most of the dark rides are pretty solid. They're good, but it's like especially when you're like someone our age that is just kind of going, hanging out and doing stuff. It's if I had my child and I went all the time and I asked my kid, he'd probably be like, oh, it's A tier. Oh, it's this, but it's also geared toward him and not me. So
Soarin' Around the World.
Oh. I'm going to put that in. So it's around the world. And I know how you feel about the Eiffel Tower in that.
The
Not
Crooked
in
Eiffel
general, just in
Tower,
the
yes.
Crooked Eiffel Tower. I would probably put that, since it's soaring around the world, I would put that in a B tier, I think.
Oh,
Because it's
okay.
still
You
a
were
good.
gonna have
I
it
still
high
think
okay.
if it were Soarin' over California, I'd probably put it in A tier because it's
Wow,
Soarin' over
okay.
California. But it's still like it's a great ride. Soarin' in general is in my opinion, a great ride, and it's also a good way to cool off. And I really like how because I don't remember the layout of the queue in Disney World when we went, but I do like the flight history and stuff coming from Seattle, where
I do
we have
like that
Boeing and
as
all the
well. That
flights.
is
I think that's super cool for Soarin'. So
yeah, the one in
yeah.
Walt Disney World in Epcot, you're like in a mall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, the one how it is themed in California Adventures is super cool to
Oh
me.
yeah, I
And
love it. I
so
love
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
I am going to do one that you're going to want to pump up pretty high just because I'm going to follow it with one I want to pump up high. So be careful.
Okay.
Incredicoaster.
I'm putting that in S tier. That is the controversial one I brought up before because when I rode Incredicoaster when we were there with my lovely other single rider who had his leftover chicken with him, in the
That's
thing
right.
next to me, a teenage kid, and he was super nice, and his friends were in front of us, and they were hilarious. But he apologized for making me ride with his leftover chicken. But so I loved it when it was its original beautifulness. And now that it's Incredicoaster, the hidden things they have throughout it, it's a fun ride. It's fast. I love roller coasters. S tier. And Jack Jack is at the very end, and it's amazing.
Okay, my goal was to get this one as an A tier. I think if I
Okay.
gave you Incredicoaster as an S tier, then I have to be able to put Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln as an A tier.
I was
Too
going to
much
put that in A
history.
tier as well.
Yeah, too much history. It is just the one time I saw Eddie Vedder in concert, and he was talking about how it was in Washington, D.C., and that day he had been on a stand-up surfboard going up and down the Potomac, and he saw an eagle land on the top of the Jefferson Memorial, and he said it was just that good kind of patriotism, like that doesn't hurt anybody, or just like you see something that is just like, okay, that makes me like at least the idea of America. And
Yeah.
for me, that's Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Absolutely love it. So A tier. Let's go with, I think I'm going to go with two that we can just put on S tier, and we
Okay.
have to stop pretending that they're not here. And that's
Okay.
Indiana Jones Adventure and Star Wars Rise of the Resistance.
Absolutely. Those are both two solid S tier rides.
So now we have 5 S tiers, which
Okay.
is a pretty big amount of S tiers. So
But they are from two different parks.
there's one I might try to... Ooh. Yeah, there are 2 that are looming here as we continue. But before we get to that, let's go with Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
To be completely honest, I'd probably put that in a C tier.
I'm perfectly fine putting it in a C tier. I got really excited when this was like the lone Star Wars ride at
Right.
Galaxy's Edge because it was the only thing you could do there. But Rise of the Resistance is so much better.
It's so much better. So much better.
Carousel.
Carousel of Progress?
No, the Carousel.
Oh, I'm like, we don't have Carousel of Progress.
I know you don't have Carousel of Progress.
The Carousel is, because of how iconic it is, I want to put it in the C tier.
Okay.
But it also, to me, it's just like, it's a carousel. But also, Walt's big thing is he loved the carousel. And
it's C tier for me. I don't think you can put it lower than C tier. So
I don't think so, just for, yeah.
Toy Story Midway Mania.
Ooh, A tier.
Yep. I think that has to be a foregone conclusion right there.
That ride's a workout.
Emotional Whirlwind.
I've never ridden Emotional Whirlwind, but I would, the facade of it where you can go and take all the pictures in the cute little area with like disgust or whatever she is. I would give it like a B tier just for that. But
I'm going to put it in a C tier. I have ridden this and it is fine. It does what it does and it does it well.
It's good for
I like those
everyone.
characters. Right. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. I know how
That
much you love this change from Tower of Terror. You're going to want to make it an S. I'm
I
going
want it
to
to be an S.
try to fight you on that
But I gave you
because
Mr. Toad.
I gave you Incredicoaster.
But it's so good. It's just so good.
I'm going to put it on A tier because there are
But
two
why?
rides that are coming that I don't think you can say, give me this for right now.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on the back burner. And when I find out what
We'll
these
put
other
a
two
pin
are,
in it.
okay, we'll put a pin in it. And when I find out what the other two are, if there's one I can like try and finagle out, I'm gonna do it. Okay.
I haven't said that both of them are S tier, but there's two more that are going to fight for that
contenders.
S tier spot.
Okay.
Let's go with the two that aren't on this particular tier that I found on the internet. These two were not listed, but I want to talk about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which, to be honest, you've never ridden.
Right.
So I'm just going to put it straight on a B tier. This is a
Okay.
great ride. I know people who will say this is their favorite ride.
Okay.
I won't go that far, but if people are saying it's their favorite ride, it's definitely popular and it serves its purpose. Spider-Man Web Slingers.
Ooh.
This is tough.
That ride's a workout. Talking
Well,
about
you're
workout
good at
rides,
it.
that is a workout. Yes.
You ruined it for me. So
Ugh.
I think that
I
it
should
is
be
a
Spider-Man.
C tier.
No, I think it's a B tier.
You think it's a B tier? Well, yeah, because you beat
do.
me in it.
But it was so fun. Like it was.
Yeah, it's fun when
ride,
you beat me in it.
But it also the queue was fun when you got inside and it was like the whole like lab. And I mean, come on, Tom Holland and all the little spider guys in the pre-show and come on. I thought it was a solid B.
I'll
It's
give
not-
you a B. I'll give you a
Okay.
B.
Okay, because it's and everyone can ride it. I mean, come on. They have cool little gadgets you can buy and make yourself better. I did not buy these gadgets.
That's a point against it for me, but
I'm just kidding. You don't need them to ride it, though. That's the thing.
here's a tough one.
Okay.
It's a Small World.
Oh, that's tough.
We rope dropped this the one day.
Talking about rope dropping crazy things in Fantasyland.
I loved that story because there
That
was
was
a
so
family, I guess they rope drop It's a Small World, the first thing they do every vacation. And it was like the one thing that the mom loved. It was her tradition that they rope drop It's a Small World the first day of a Disneyland vacation. And they were still very short-staffed due to the pandemic. They didn't have enough cast members to open It's a Small World with the park. So these kids were crying. They were like, we want to do Rise of the Resistance. We want to do Indiana Jones. And the dad was like, this is the one thing that your mom wants. Everything else in this vacation is for you. This is for her. And we waited like 45 minutes to get to ride It's a Small World. It was very funny.
But it was great because we had a boat like all to ourselves.
I'm going to go B tier. You could talk me into A tier, but
I was kind of thinking B tier myself because it's like, it's not quite A tier and it's not a C tier. So I'm going to go, I'll agree with B. I don't need to talk you into an A.
And if either of my S tiers get bumped down to A tier, I don't want It's a Small World on the same level as.
Fair. Very fair. That is fair.
Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin.
That's tough.
It's tough for me too because I love the IP so much.
Yes.
I love the ride. I'm so happy it's staying.
Yes.
I am floating between an A and a B, but
Mine was
I don't
a B
know.
and a C.
Okay, well then let's put it as a B.
Let's go B.
I do love it though. Oh, it's so
it's
good.
Fun. I want to see the refurbishment where they made like Jessica Rabbit a like detective or something. I want to.
Right,
it
really does look really cool. Yeah. Dumbo.
To be honest, I would put Dumbo at a C. It's iconic, but I don't write it.
Okay. Yeah, you
But
did
I
not
can
ride
make
it.
you
Like, you didn't
I
even ride it when we wanted to ride it. You were like,
no,
I'll go do something else.
yeah, I know, but you know what? I also grew up like I've ridden. I got a bloody nose at like 3 years old, standing in line for that when there was no shade. It didn't used to have the cover on the line, and that was one of my memories that I remember from our first trip ever to Disneyland. Is I got this raging bloody nose standing in line for Dumbo. And it's stuck in my head ever since. But I just am indifferent towards Dumbo. It's cute. I love that it's there. It's iconic. It's wonderful that it's there. But I just am indifferent. So you can always talk me up to a higher one if you think it's something other than a C. I just, in my opinion, is it a C?
No, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Nemo Submarine Journey, I have that as an F. Okay.
F. Huge F.
We're right there. I'm loving it. Mickey's PhilharMagic, I think we're at a solid C right there.
I think so. It was fun. I did go see it when we were there. Actually, I had to go back over to California Adventure to buy something before I left to go get my flight. And I realized we hadn't done PhilharMagic and they were just letting people in. So I ran over there and hopped in and I got to see like the Coco stuff and it was so fun. I enjoyed it a lot. But C, definitely C. And mainly because it took Muppets away.
The one thing that I would say about the Disneyland version is, like you said, that theater was made for Muppets, so it doesn't really fit in the theater like it does over in Walt Disney World. So I'm definitely going C. What is it? The
Okay.
Columbia? Is that the other boat?
The sailing ship Columbia, yeah, the one that looks like the pirate ship that they used as the pirate ship in Fantasmic.
Where do you want to put that one?
I'd put it the same as Mark Twain because it's iconic, but it's not like
Perfect.
a must do. Plus, it doesn't run as frequently as the Mark Twain. So it's like if you get a chance to do it, great. If not, it's cool to see it. Good photo op.
Here's a tough one.
Okay.
The Disneyland Railroad.
I would probably put that. I enjoy it very much because we have something you guys don't, which is that
A good
whole-
railroad.
well, a good railroad, and we have the diorama and all of that at the end of the railroad when you
Correct.
go after you go through Tomorrowland. So that makes me want to put it at like a B tier because I do love riding the railroad. I love that I can get to different places. I mean, yes, it was closed for a really long time, but now that it's back open, it's nice when it's really hot and you don't want to walk or you're just tired, and it puts you at a very central location for all of the lands. So like whatever land you land on, I guess you should say. But I'd probably put it at a B.
Okay, I'll give you that. I initially slotted it into A, but
Oh,
I'll give
why'd
you
you put it in
B.
A?
There's something so just Disney is the railroad. Like, that's
Okay.
the first thing you see. Like, you see that railroad
It's true.
station.
I didn't think about that. We
It's
could put it
just-
in A. I can
yeah.
be convinced. Because
I
it's true. I
want to
didn't
put
think
the
about that.
Disneyland version as an A
Okay, let's do
because
it.
you have the dioramas. You
Yeah.
have some more interesting train stations, even at New Orleans Square.
Yeah.
I
I
love
like the
it.
Toontown station.
The
It's cute.
Toontown station's good. Yeah, I have this as an A tier. I
Okay,
don't think
let's
we're
do A
gonna
tier.
touch Splash Mountain versus Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We've talked about that ad nauseum in
Yeah.
other episodes, and we don't know exactly.
Technically, there's no ride right now, so it shouldn't count.
Okay, I'll give you that one. There are a couple other little things that I'm just like, let's skip because it's not worthy of having the discussion. So now we are down to our last two.
Okay.
Have you figured out what they are yet?
I know one's Big Thunder and Guardians.
No, we
Or
did
no, I already
Guardians.
did Guardians. We did Guardians. So Big Thunder and
Radiator Springs Racers.
oh, Radiator
These-
Springs Racers is an S tier ride. No
I
one
agree with you.
compromise.
I agree with you on Radiator Springs Racers. So I have put that in the S tier.
Okay.
Now, do I have to make my case? Do I have to stretch here? Do I have to make my case for Big Thunder as an S tier?
I kind of feel like you do because I put it in an A tier, but I'm also not as diehard as you are of Big Thunder. I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't put it as an S tier ride. But
All
I
right,
could
this is
potentially
me
be
making my
convinced.
case, okay?
Okay.
Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, especially the Disneyland version. First of all, we have to agree the Disneyland version is better than the Walt Disney World version.
Absolutely.
It is smoother. The theming is much, much more detailed. So it's a very well-themed ride.
Okay.
But this is where I'm going to go. There's not a lot of thrill in Disneyland Park. We have Indiana Jones, which we already have as an S tier.
Right.
We have Space Mountain, which is very, very good, which we have as a B tier. But Big Thunder Mountain Railroad serves as a very important step between things like Gadget's Go Coaster and some of these not thrilling but borderline thrilling rides, and saying, can your kid make that next level? And Big Thunder Mountain is the closest thing Disneyland has to being in between. It's not Incredicoaster. It is way more accessible than Incredicoaster. It is way more accessible than Mission Breakout. This is that step to say, if you can do this, you're ready to start thinking about Space Mountain. It is themed well. At night, it is gorgeous. If you catch the fireworks as you're going up the hill, it is the best experience of your vacation. True. I think Big Thunder Mountain is everything that Disney does well. It's accessible. It has a little bit of a thrill there. It's well themed. Listen, we're not people who are like, I hate bringing IP into the parks and there's too much IP and why am I seeing Anna and Elsa and why are these bathrooms based on Rapunzel? But I also think that it is nice to have some Disney things still sitting around that aren't intellectual properties. And this is even a better case that I'm going to make right now. We just got another attempt at a Haunted Mansion movie.
Yep.
And we had a Haunted Mansion movie before. Yep. There have certainly been Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So Big Thunder Mountain is sitting there as the next not IP that could turn into an IP if Disney decides to go in that direction at some point in the future. I've heard rumors they're thinking about that. There was a rumor of a television show way back in the day that was going to happen. With that in mind, I say Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is the perfect S-tier attraction.
Okay, I'm thinking right now. I'm like processing what you just told me, and you kind of got me there on.
If we have a movie franchise that starts that's as good as Pirates of the Caribbean, are you not telling me that Big Thunder deserves to be an S tier?
True. That is true. But you really got me in your whole thing about like the accessibility and like because that was my like tester roller coaster as a kid that I went on. I remember just sliding back and forth like crazy on it because like, I'm so little, you know. But I think I can give you an S tier on this one because you made a lot of really good points about this ride that I hadn't thought about. And yeah, so I think I can give you an S tier on this one.
I am so shocked we made this 2 episodes long. I'm so proud of us. We took basically the important rides and some of the experiences at Disney's California Adventure and Disneyland and ranked them in a tier list. So let's just go over our results here very, very quickly. Right. In the F tier, we have Astro Orbiter, Goofy's Sky School, Autopia, The Zephyr, Casey Jr. Circus Train, and Finding Nemo's Submarine Journey. In the D tier, we have Turtle Talk with Crush, Mad Tea Party, Matterhorn Bobsleds, which I think is a controversial one, Storybookland, Canal, River, whatever, boat thing, Grizzly River Run, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, and Mickey's Scary Wheel of Death, or the Pixar Pal Around, depending on what you want to call it. And then this was our goal. Our goal was to have C tier be overwhelmingly the most.
Yes.
And we did accomplish that. We have the Mark Twain, Star Tours, Enchanted Tiki Room, Tow Mater, whatever the full name of that ride is. Mike and Sully to the Rescue, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Pinocchio Daring Journey, Jumpin' Jellyfish, Peter Pan Flight. The fact that we have Jumpin' Jellyfish tied with Peter Pan Flight is going to make a lot of people really, really mad. The Sleeping Beauty Castle Walkthrough, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Little Mermaid, The Carousel, The Emotional Whirlwind, Dumbo, PhilharMagic, and the Columbia. Now we're getting to some of the controversial ones. This is the big stuff right here. The B tier, Alice in Wonderland, Space Mountain, Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters. The fact that that made it is just because we did it so early. There is no way that would have ended up in B tier if we would have done it later.
It would still be a B tier. I would have fought.
Gadget's Go Coaster, or I think right now it's Chippendale's Gadget Coaster. We have Snow White's Enchanted Wish, Soarin' Around the World, It's a Small World, and Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin. Coming in the A tier, we have Pirates of the Caribbean, Jungle Cruise, Haunted Mansion. If you are just tuning in right now, Haunted Mansion is only in the A tier because of the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay and how long it is down throughout the year and how long you do not get the original version through the year. Great moments with Mr. Lincoln making a strong showing as an A tier. Toy Story Midway Mania, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, and the Disneyland Railroad. You should not, because we have as many S tiers as we have A tiers.
Okay.
And that's probably about what you should have here.
Animatronic Rocket should have boosted it into the S tier.
Listen, you were the one who wanted to go with the monorail in S tier.
The monorail is an S tier ride. I will stick to my guns. It is the best.
You went with the monorail and Incredicoaster, which were two stretches in my humble opinion.
Well, you chose Mr. Toad, so...
And we have Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in the S tier to go along with Indiana Jones Adventure, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, Radiator Springs Racers, and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, where I made my last-ditch effort to fight to get that one on here. Remember, I pay the posting fees for this podcast, and I have to do all the editing, so sometimes I get to win some of these, even if I don't deserve to win them. Sarah, thank you so much for taking all of this time. It has been an absolute pleasure. It has been so great. We have had you on the show so much more regularly than a few months ago, and it has been great to have you back. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
This has been episode 148 of Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. We're 2 weeks away from celebrating our 150th episode, so we're going to do something special on December 14th. Next Thursday, I'll be joined by Steven from the YouTube channel A Life in the Parks, who's going to talk about all of the throwback videos he has on his page that deal with the holidays. We'll be talking about the Osborne Family Spectacle of Lights, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, the Christmas overlay of the Country Bear Jamboree, and much, much more. That will be next week on Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty. Until then, have a great week.